everybody. Welcome once again to the RetroGameFix.com Retro Jones podcast number 102. This is your host, Mitch.
And this is Mike.
And Mike, why don't you go ahead and kick us off? Without any further ado, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today, so go for it.
Yeah, we do. So let's kick off the contact information. So twitter.com, facebook.com, youtube.com/RetroGameFix. And I want to thank YouTube for switching their algorithm briefly. Instead of being length of video, they've changed an algorithm to engagement, and we're actually getting more YouTube views, and
we're getting a lot more subscribers all of a sudden too.
Yeah, so that's awesome. So thank you for that, YouTube. Questions at RetroGameFix.com is the email, and then the voicemail is 678-995-5103. You can always give us a call. So that's our contact information, but we got a ton of shit to talk about. So here's the deal. Steamlink, Funhouse, RetroPie, and Switch. Mm-hmm. It's going to be awesome. So I want to get this one out of the way quick. So
go ahead.
I woke up this morning, or actually yesterday, and so I took apart my entertainment center, because we started baby proofing, because Violet's now like traditionally crawling, and with that she tips over into stuff. Yes. And so the entertainment stand had like glass doors on it, and they're like IKEA glass doors. And we're like, well, if she tips into that, that's not going to be good news. So anyway, I ran out to IKEA, and I also got a note. I'm 34. I got a note that IKEA has an age limit, and that age limit is 34. Apparently,
for what?
Is like when you lose your IKEA card, basically. Like,
oh yeah.
Like, you know, like you should probably stop wearing hats backwards or whatever at like 30, 25, whatever that is. Like, you should probably not have IKEA furniture past like 34, 35. I read an article about that. Anyway, which sucks because
my time has passed. Well, good. I can finally I can use that for my wife now and be like, I don't want to go because I'm too old. Actually,
that said, though, IKEA's getting fucking expensive, and there's nicer furniture elsewhere. Anyway, regardless, I needed new doors for my entertainment stand. And so I ripped everything apart, and in doing so, I looked at the Steamlink was sitting there. And I'm like, I've used it, and at various times, but I've never really sat down to game on it, mostly because I've either had to use the Xbox 360 controller wireless, and after getting used to the PS4 controller and the Xbox One controller, that just feels old. And so I just didn't want to play it. And so I got online. I was like, have they finally added Xbox One controller support? And they've always had it, but you had to be wired in. And I was like, well, how about through the PC dongle? And that was never a thing. So Xbox One S comes out, 5 months ago. I didn't even realize this, but Steamlink patched in Bluetooth support for the Xbox One S controller. And so the good news is I turn my Xbox One S controller on, I go into Steamlink, I go to Bluetooth peripherals or whatever the setting is, it sees my Xbox One controller, I select pair, and boom.
So you only have to do that once, right?
Only have to do it once. So here's the thing. I had to do some settings on my PC because I have some pretty...
porn.
A lot of porn, but some pretty secure... I'd like to have secure stuff just in the nature of work that I'm in. So I had to unlock... So I had to change it so you could wake my computer up from sleep based on like a network request, which is fine. But then... my computer also would ask for password on wake. And I like that because I got a bunch of shit that I don't want people to get into on my computer. And so I had to disable password on sleep resume. But essentially, man, I can... It's like my computer can be sleeping. I hit the Xbox One S controller. It turns on my Steamlink. It says my PC is off. I click my PC, it sends a request through LAN, it says trying to wake up the PC wakes up, opens up Steam big picture mode, and boom, my entire library is right there.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so it's phenomenal. And not to mention, then I've hooked up a keyboard and mouse to it and some other stuff, and so it's actually really good. And then the other cool thing is you can actually get out of big picture mode, so I can still access the rest of my computer through the Steamlink, essentially. And I don't know if a lot of people, I don't know if it's a glitch on mine or a lot of people don't know that, but
is that useful though?
Yeah, it's super useful if I want to, like, you know, just pull up like a web browser or to look for hints or tips. I mean, it's not like the greatest thing in the world. I'm not going to use it for video or anything because I use Plex or stuff like that. It doesn't work great for that. But if you just want to boot out of it, you know, real quick and try to find a different game or load a different driver, go look for a, you know, and yeah, you can use your phone and other things like that, but it's kind of nice just to have the option. So
yeah, that's cool.
So
that's really cool. I actually have to seriously consider doing that, because we were talking about it the other day, and it's like, well, is Steamlink still $25 or something right now?
No, it's not. So it's 50 right now, which I think, which I think is still a ridiculous deal.
Probably for that, and you know, if you could play for the Xbox One controller, you'd probably get it for about $100, right? Like total?
Yeah, it'd be like $100 total. But yeah, during Black Friday, the Xbox controllers were like $40, and then the Steamlink was down to $20. So it would have been 60, but I mean, it's either way.
Damn, I wish I would have known about that. I totally would have dropped $20 on that.
I would have told you, but at the time, I wasn't even using my Steamlink. So I was like, well, you know, I don't know. I mean, it's a cool gimmick, you know, and I really liked it. I liked the concept, but just the fact that I couldn't use, you know, a traditional controller bothered me. And so now that you can, I'm gonna play way more PC games, because I mean, with the kid, obviously downstairs, 4K TV, PC. Obviously the optimal way to do it, but you know, with the kid and the girlfriend and everything else, sometimes I just don't want to be stuck in the basement.
Yeah.
And so to just be able to hit a button and fire up Steamlink, turn on my computer automatically, and boom, there's my entire Steam library, and I'm navigating it with my Xbox controller. Fucking perfect. And yes, the graphics aren't always perfect, but unless you're looking for it, you're not going to notice. I mean, it's so good. It's so good. So, yeah, that's Steamlink, man. I encourage anybody that
you can even get them like just looking on eBay real quick. You can still get them $30 on eBay, brand new. Yeah, still sealed or whatever if you want to, I guess. Yeah,
I encourage anybody that maybe wrote it off because they either didn't like the Steamlink, the Steam controller, or didn't want to use the older Xbox controller. If you have one, I encourage you to either sync up go get a new Xbox One S controller, because it needs the new Xbox One S controller to do it because it's via Bluetooth. But go try it out. It's awesome. So
yeah, that's awesome, dude. I have to really seriously consider buying one soon, but I feel like
you bought something else recently.
I did, and we talked about it. I kind of left it hanging at the last podcast because I had just sold the Flash Gordon and also the Baby Pac-Man, and I had a big stack of cash, and I was like, man, this stack of cash is heavy. I need to get rid of it. So as soon as we got done with the podcast, I called this guy with the Funhouse that I was talking about from Tennessee, and I was like, well, I'll put some caveat in there. So if he says no, then like, I won't do it. So I was like, hey, man, I'll pay you your asking price if you meet me halfway, because he's like 4 hours away. I don't want to drive 4 hours for that. So he's like, yeah, sure, call me. So I called him. We talked for maybe an hour or something. It seemed like a nice guy. And he's like, yeah, my daughter lives in Chattanooga. I'll totally do that. So I was like, okay, well, I guess it's on now. So long story short, I'm calling all my friends like with trucks. There's like 5 of them like the next day, and everybody's busy this weekend, of course. And I don't blame them, even if they weren't busy. I wouldn't want to do it either.
They were busy, quote unquote busy. Yeah.
My daughter has something in Tampa. Bullshit. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, so long story short, I was like, what? How am I going to pick this up? I thought I had at least one friend that would be able to spot me a ride. And I found the greatest thing ever. I was like, why don't I look on like Enterprise? And I'm not a spokesperson for Enterprise or anything, especially after this weekend. But I found a cargo van, and I have a friend that works in corporate at Enterprise. So like, I got a a cargo van for like $31 after tax and everything. And I of course bought the, insurance for like $15 or whatever. But like, yeah, it was like for less than $50. I rented a big ass cargo van, and I could have fit 4 pinball machines in this thing standing up on the legs, which is awesome. So, I mean, it's super easy. The thing got like 30 miles a gallon. It was crazy. So, I paid nothing, and I didn't have to put out any of my friends, which is always a pain in the ass because I wouldn't want them to ask me to do that. So, anyway, I went up to Chattanooga yesterday. Was it yesterday already? And picked it up, got it home, and man, it's I gotta say, man, it's beautiful. Like, a couple things I need to work on Rudy's eyelids because they don't close properly. I think there's like a step off or something, so I need to take his face apart and fix that. But other than that, I gotta say it's in pretty damn nice condition. For being a 26-year-old game and all. Like the playfield, beyond the Mylar, there's a little bit of, wear spots, but there's nothing that bad. I mean, unless you really look at it, it's just fucking awesome. So I'm stoked. I got a Funhouse now. All of a sudden, that was really, really fast. How fast that happened,
Yeah, it was like, hey, I want a Funhouse. Hey, I got a Funhouse. Like, hey, I'll take your Funhouse.
That's the thing. It was funny because before I just sold the Flash Gordon, literally before we started recording, I was late. You remember? I was like, give me a second. I just sold the Flash Gordon. Dude just walked out of my house, Mm-hmm. And after the show, so I just got done selling that. I got a stack of cash from that. Did the show. Stack of cash was gone right after the show. It was already like, in one hand, out the other. I'm like, So anyway, that stack of cash was getting too heavy, and now I have the Funhouse, which is much, much lighter. So anyway, I'm stoked. I got a Funhouse. A hot damn. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll take some videos and stuff. One video that I didn't see much of on YouTube that I'm going to throw up here maybe tonight or tomorrow is when you get the 2 locks, and when you get 2 locks and you got to get the third ball to lock. Rudy falls asleep, of course, when the clock strikes midnight, and then he starts to snore, and like his bottom lip starts to like jitter up and down. It's freaking hilarious. I totally am going to take a video of that. I've been kind of putting some like short videos up on the YouTube / RetroGameFix that are kind of just short videos of just stuff that I find that are pretty funny. So anyway, that's it. I'm going to keep it real short on that because we've got a lot of other shit to talk about. So Mike, take it away.
We do. So I've had this Raspberry Pi 3 now for like 6 months.
Uh-huh.
And I have not done anything with it until today. And let me tell you, Mitch, this thing is awesome. So when the NES Classic came out, everyone was like, why not just build a RetroPie? And it was the thing was, well, not everybody wants to build a RetroPie, tech savvy, cost, ordering, blah, 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 blah. All of these, all these hurdles, because that's a nerd thing to do. It's a geek thing to do. And for that very reason, I was kind of excited to get into it. But it was also the same reason I kind of put it off, because I was thinking, well, if I launch this Raspberry Pi, I want to put a Linux distro on there, and then I want the RetroPie, and then I want to do all this crazy stuff.
Yep.
And then finally, I was kind of looking at it and going, okay, I got to do something with it. And so I go online this week, and I see RetroPie. Here's your image, your disk image, essentially. And the RetroPie uses micro SD cards. Yep. And you mount your disk image via Rufus or Win32 disk image writer, any kind of disk image writer that can write a disk image to a flash drive, essentially. So you go to the RetroPie website, you download the disk image for the Raspberry Pi that you have, you unzip it, you write the image to your micro SD card. I went out and bought a 128 gig micro SD card, Samsung, for like $40. You probably don't need that much space.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how much space do you need?
I mean, you could get away with. I mean, all the retro systems combined are probably only going to use 4 gig or whatever. I just thought if I wanted to put like PS1 games on there, GameCube games, then you're starting to talk 500, 600, 700 meg.
Can you do that?
Yeah. So it comes with 50 emulators pre-installed.
RetroPie does.
RetroPie does, right? So here's the thing. So I mount the disk image. I take the SD card out of my SD card reader thing that's plugged into my desktop. I put it in the RetroPie.
Yeah.
I connect a PlayStation 3 controller because it was the only controller I could find that was USB.
USB, sure.
It also does Bluetooth. I just didn't want to fuck around with the Bluetooth. So I plug a PS3 controller into it via USB. I plug the RetroPie in to the wall. Obviously, I plug the RetroPie into my 4K TV. I was curious to see how it would look on how it would work with the 4K TV via HDMI.
Yep.
And it turns on. And
that was it.
It says RetroPie. And it's like, what do you want me to do? So I connect to Wi-Fi. That worked great. And I was like, okay, I guess it works. And then I'm like, all right, how do I get ROMs on it? So I have a USB stick. And it says plug the USB stick into the RetroPie. And wait for it to stop blinking. Plug the USB stick into the RetroPie, wait for it to stop blinking, then I plug it into my PC. It creates a file format already, or a file structure on the USB for you. So when you plug it back into your PC and you open up the USB stick, it has a root folder, and then it has a couple folders, but then it has one called ROMs. Then you open up ROMs, and it has all of the systems.
Yep.
You drop your ROMs onto the USB card into the appropriate folder. You take it out, you plug it into the RetroPie, you wait for it to stop blinking, you unplug it, you reboot the RetroPie, and any system that you have ROMs for on the RetroPie shows up in a little horizontal scrolling interface that allows you to select that system. And
I see it. I'm looking at the pictures you sent me. Go ahead.
And then you choose whatever game you want to play, and you're done.
Nice touch on the Nintendo one that you sent me. By the way, it's on Pinbot. Go ahead.
I did that on purpose, but obviously, 30 minutes, Mitch.
That sounds like really not complicated at all.
And so, a retro Raspberry Pi 3 is like $60 with the case and everything. I think $60-$70 maybe.
That was going to be my first question.
And you'd want it with the case and the power adapter. But yeah, it's like, I mean, you can get them at Micro Center, but the place I ordered, I think it was like $70 with the case, the AC adapter, the RetroPie, all that. The SD card, like I said, was $40. With something like this, I got the nice SD card just because I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. You could get away with the Micro Center 32 gig SD card for like fucking $10, right?
I was going to say the free one that they gave away like a couple months ago or whatever.
Right. So you could use that because speed isn't going to be a huge issue when you're talking about these retro games.
Well, that's the thing. You don't need a class 10 or whatever, I'm sure.
No. And then, yeah, and then you plug it in, you're fucking ready to go, man. It's the coolest thing ever. So, anyway, what do you think the first game I tried was?
Pinball?
No, based on my NES Classic performance.
Battletoads?
No, Mike Tyson.
Oh, Mike Tyson. I'm sorry. Duh. Battletoads wasn't on.
So I haven't tried Battletoads. That'd be a good one on that third level to test lag.
Yeah, of course. This is the ultimate test for lag.
So I open up Tyson, and this is a fucking ironic part. Well, it's not. I don't know. That's not ironic, but there is still lag, a little bit. But I could actually whoop people's ass in Mike Tyson. So again, it's actually playable in comparison to the NES Classic.
So what's the deal? Why do you think there's still a little bit of lag in there? If that thing can run PlayStation and GameCube games, then like why is there still a little bit of the lag in?
Well, PlayStation and GameCube games, they've accounted for lag and other such. I mean, there's always lag when you're talking about an LCD TV.
I see.
But so the newer the games, actually, they kind of account for the fact that you're going to have lag. Nintendo, so the older ones were always the
CRT.
The real old 240p style games. But it was still playable. I don't think I would notice it on any other NES games, but Mike Tyson was kind of the one you go to. And I'm probably actually being hyper sensitive to it.
Probably.
Where I don't think anyone else would really notice. And like, I think I need to go back and replay it on NES on my CRT just to get a feel for it.
You're going to be like, God damn it, the original hardware has lag.
Yeah, well, maybe.
You're like, no, dude, you have lag.
Yeah. So that might be it. But I can tell you right now that like the NES Classic, like,
that's for real.
Yeah, for real unplayable. Where this was like, yeah, I'm fucking jamming through this. This works great. And so, yeah, I mean, again, so essentially, I mean, roughly $100 you're probably looking at if you don't have a controller or whatever. And it's got Bluetooth, so you can go, like, there's a lot of, like, re-released retro Bluetooth controllers. And I think the quality is actually getting better on them. And then you can just sync them up. But what I want to do now, since I have those MAME cabinets and everything, I think you can load the 60-in-1 stuff on it and the MAME stuff. And so for the MAME, it fucking works out even better because I could play every other Nintendo game through my MAME. So I'm probably going to buy another one and finish out that cabinet someday with a Raspberry Pi, and then also probably do it with that Donkey Kong 3 that I have as well. So. But super flexible, man. Like I said, I mean, it literally takes 30 minutes to get it up and going, and you don't need to. So for anybody that's maybe listening, you don't need to know anything about Linux or distributions or anything like that. If you go to the RetroPie website, it walks you through step by step. It's super easy, and if you want to do it and have questions, feel free to email the show, and I can help you out. But it's pretty much as easy as it gets if you're even remotely familiar with right-clicking, extracting a file from a zip file, right-clicking it, and like going burn to disk, and then it'll ask you what application, and then you select Win Disk Image Burn 32, and click write. Yeah. I mean, it's so easy. So,
well, that's the thing too. This is what I wanted to ask you about. Like, I guess I'd be interested to have one like by my TV where I could flip it on for like retro gaming, especially if they go into like GameCube and PlayStation, like the original PlayStation. Like I'm thinking back, I'm like, damn, there's some stuff I'd like to play on that, like the original Twisted Metals.
Yeah,
at least
for
one and two.
For
only
sure.
1 and 2.
Well, that's what I'm going to use.
Let me clarify, only 1 and 2.
Well, that's what I'm going to use this for, right? Is
stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I've got all the retro systems, but where stuff like Carrie and I, right? Like she remembers a lot of old classic games, but we're not gonna come downstairs with the kid and everything else. But I can just hook this thing up in the living room.
That's convenient.
You can't even see it, right? It's like it's so tiny. It's the size. It's like an inch and a half high, and then like the size of a credit card length and width. So.
Right, that sounds.
You can put it anywhere, right? And then with the Bluetooth connectivity, you'll want a keyboard and mouse handy or a wire. Like you'll have to do some of the configuration. Like for the Bluetooth connectivity, you would need a keyboard to kind of sync that stuff and just pair it together correctly. But once you do that, man, it's fucking cool, dude. And like I'm just like, this is gonna be so much fun because now I can load all the ROMs. Put it up on the TV upstairs, and anytime like the kid goes to sleep or whatever, like instead of coming downstairs, we can just be like, grab a controller, let's play a fucking few rounds of Dr. Mario, or you know what I mean? So
yeah, well, I mean that's awesome, and not only that, I mean we talked about this a while ago, the Retro Boy, and I'm like now like thinking about the possibilities on that, with me and handholds and stuff like that, I'm like it's like sweating. I'm like, I have beads of sweat on my forehead. I was like, I gotta have that. I'm like, I gotta have it. And I'm like, real quick to connect it to the pinball thing. We were talking about this earlier, yesterday, I think, when I was driving home with that thing. I was like, technically, I just traded 2 machines for this, plus $100 out of my own pocket. But like, I feel like I've just blown a whole shitload of money, you know?
Well, yeah, because it's like we were saying, it's like it's $3,400. Like technically speaking, you didn't have to spend.
Right.
Or, you know.
I had in my pocket. I could have done anything with it, and it would. So yes, I had it for, even if it was for like less than a week, or maybe it was less than a week. I feel like I blew a whole bunch of money, and I'm like, I can't spend that kind of money, and I can't buy anything right now. And I'm like, really though? It's like somebody traded me these two machines that to me are undesirable, and $100 for a Funhouse.
Yeah,
so,
yes. It's just that mind f of actually having the cash in your hand as opposed to like a straight up trade.
Yeah, right, exactly. So like like I said on my brow right now, I'm like, oh my God, Retro Boy, I totally need to do that, because I do need to do that. I so want to do that, but like, I so don't want to spend any money right now. So that's the way it is. But that's so cool. Yeah,
I'm telling you, man. I would I'd probably do the RetroPie thing before the Steamlink thing, but man, the Steamlink thing is also super fucking cool now that they've finally added Bluetooth support, controller support, and I had no idea that the Xbox One S controller had Bluetooth connectivity. Like, I have Bluetooth on my PC, so I don't even need the Windows like stick thing that I have to connect my Xbox One S controller. Like, yeah, so that's super cool. Like, I'm just glad that we're kind of getting to a point where, I mean, even especially with Microsoft and you know, without getting into specifics and into the weeds on this stuff, with all of this cloud computing and that's coming up and becoming very popular either through Google services or Amazon Web Services or Microsoft Azure or all these Rackspace, all these other cloud services. Oddly enough, you see places like Microsoft being very open, and you started to see it a few years ago when they offered free upgrades to legitimate copies to Windows, even if you had a pirated version. And they're now collaborating with IBM and some other manufacturers, and the Windows space and just computing in general is actually becoming more open other than Apple. And it's making doing stuff a hell of a lot easier. And for gamers and PC enthusiasts, I think we all appreciate that. So obviously they still need to make money and it's not perfect. But the fact that I can use my Xbox controller on pretty much any fucking thing that I want now is something I would have never thought would have happened, 10 years ago. So
yeah, exactly.
Or even the Sony controller you can use now, because that's also Bluetooth. And Sony was really reluctant to allow people to do that, and they never specifically released a driver, but they never told people they couldn't build their own. And so a lot of cool stuff going on in gaming right now, and it's kind of nice that there's always a workaround. So
yeah, I think there's a struggle at some point too for like the last decade and plus, last 2 decades rather, where I feel like there's just kind of like at a certain point, I think they're finally like, we're either going to fight it or we're going to control what we can of it, and that's maybe what happened. I don't know.
And I think that actually goes a long way. And for them, it's one of those things that we're also in a spot where, don't get it wrong, all of this data that they're collecting means something to them. And it's not always just for advertising or anything like that. It goes into stuff like artificial intelligence and, predictive analytics and things like that. So, it goes a long way, but, certainly there is a benefit toward them going, hey, we can give you this free option, and then we can track where you specifically as a person are using all this. So, but for stuff like this, I'm willing to trade a little bit of privacy for the flexibility of, of convenience. So,
mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Speaking of flexibility,
okay,
a new system came out.
Yeah,
or is coming out March 3rd. That happens to be flexible in the way that it will allow you to play it on your TV and on the go if you so choose.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, Mitch, let me tell you about this little thing called a TurboGrafx 16.
What? I've never heard of this.
No, the Nintendo Switch, the Nintendo Switch.
Oh my God, you had me going there for a minute.
I know. Finally got announced.
Like officially.
Yeah, well, they officially announced it about a month ago, but they officially gave details on it.
Right.
So, man, there's a lot to unpack on this thing. And so before we started this podcast, I think we should fire it on the price, the accessories, some of the games, and then maybe some general thoughts around it. So I was telling you before the show that I think that they did everything I wanted them to do, and then there was a caveat to everything that I thought they should do, which also makes it something that I didn't think they should do. Okay. So in a way, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get tweets or anything from people saying, look, I don't know how well this thing's going to do. It looks like an article that came out just today that said that it failed already. No, that's actually said it's finally. The pre-orders are actually sold out everywhere now, so we'll see how that goes. But now that we have details, I have some opinions. So let's get the basic stuff out of the way.
All right.
Switch gets announced, priced at $299.
It's a little more than I expected it to be.
Yeah, and I have some thoughts on that, but it was speculated to be $249 because it was leaked that it would be 300 yen, and the exchange rate right now would put the Switch at
$250.
Like 275 actually, but where I thought like, okay, if it's not 249, 279 would still be doable, but $299 that's a bit of an investment. And so anyway, so there's that. It's $299. The Joy-Con controllers come out. Well, actually, let's just break these down one by one. So $290. Actually, let me run through these because I think there's going to be some conversation around all these. Joy-Con controller replacements, $80. I'm a little disappointed there because I was like, oh man, if they release like purple Joy-Cons, I'm gonna buy those because I want to pimp out my Switch. Nope. No way I'm spending $80 on additional ones. Pro controllers, $80, and the dock is $90. So obviously they're making those are technically accessories, so they're making a ton of money on those things, most likely double. But at $299, I'm still in. But it makes it more of a you need to think about it, right? You're outside of impulse purchase at $299, right?
Yeah, just barely. Yeah, but yes, you're right. So
how do you feel about it?
I mean, I'm not going to be a day one person again. Like I said, I'm just not like really a day one person when it comes to most things. I'm like sometimes like where I was talking about earlier, I'm like year 26 person, like sometimes I'm pretty late on some stuff usually, but I like it, man. And there are a lot of reasons, I guess once we roll down the list, why I'm thinking I'm probably going to have one by the end, summer, maybe. I mean, it all depends. Pre-orders went down pretty slow. So I don't know if Nintendo is going to use that as a reason to try and like slow down their supply or, we didn't know, pull a Nintendo, do what Nintendo does. But post pre-order, I'll probably buy one as soon as Nintendo's willing to sell me one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. So speaking of that, I'm kind of curious if demand was low or if Nintendo actually did a real pre-order this time.
Yeah, for real, and then just said, okay, we'll get what we get, and then we'll cut it off at this particular time.
Exactly. So here's the thing. So a lot of
I was really, really close to jumping in on that pre-order, by the way, and
if it was $249, you probably would have.
I probably would have.
So here's kind of where I'm still on board with the hybrid handheld console, but
I think it sounds cool.
But at $299, they've kind of we talked about this earlier this week, but up until a couple weeks ago, when you could find 3DSs, they're $200 for 6-year-old hardware.
Yeah.
Right. So this is $100 more, but it's $100 more, and it kind of prices themselves out of that handheld market. My hope was that they do a version with the dock for say $249 or even $279, and then do a version without the dock for $199 or $119 maybe.
Sure.
But at $299, and if the dock costs $90, I feel like if they did a version without the dock, it'd be $239, and like that's a lot to spend on a handheld. And then some of the stuff that's coming out about it is like, this isn't as portable, obviously, as the 3DS. And part of me says,
oh, really?
Well, just because it's bigger, right? It's about the size of the Wii pad, the Wii U pad.
Just because, yeah.
And certainly you can disconnect the JoyCons and everything, but it's not like something you can just disconnect and fold up and toss in your backpack or whatever, right? And it's
I like that though. I like a big ass bulky handheld. I really do. Well, I think I like that. I like that.
Well,
I think that's cool.
And I don't mind it either, right? Because like, even with my 3DS, I'd always throw it in a carrying case, and like, or my Vita.
I'm not gonna throw that in my pocket. I mean, I'd throw the 3DS. Look, I'd throw the 3DS in my pocket, but I'm not gonna throw my Vita in my pocket.
Whenever I go places, I always have a backpack or some kind of bag with me anyway. So I wouldn't mind throwing, like, if it's a little bigger, I'll throw that thing in a little protective carrying case, toss that thing in my backpack, and if I need to play it on a plane or a bus or anywhere else, like I would break that thing out, and like I would exchange some portability for a better viewing and gameplay experience.
That's it right there.
10 out of 10 times. And
I wouldn't even sweat the size of it. I think that the bigger the better as far as that goes.
Yeah.
It's a hybrid. I mean, first and foremost, it's a hybrid. It's not a handheld. Like it's not. And that's one way to separate yourself from it as well.
Well, and it's not a handheld in a traditional sense, and it's not a console in a traditional sense.
Exactly.
And
that's
so,
what I'm saying.
And so for people thinking, well, you know what, they probably still have another handheld coming. Maybe they do. Maybe they actually are going to have smaller versions of this, but I'm going to tell you right now, and I'll eat crow if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's any way Nintendo went down this hybrid path where take it on the go, take it to these parties or whatever the fuck else people want to do, the basketball court, and then they're also going to try to say, hey, by the way, we also have this other handheld that you can do the same thing with. Yeah. I think if they do release another handheld that's maybe a smaller version, it's still going to play the same games.
It's like a Slim or something, maybe.
Right, it's still going to play the same games. So we'll see what they announce, but yeah, there
may be different generations of it as well. They usually shrink over generations, anyways.
Yeah. So overall, I'm super excited about it. I actually, to be honest with you, I'm more excited about it than I was when we were talking about it before. Mm-hmm. But I just don't know. I'm curious to see how that $299 price is going to sit with people, and the accessory prices are a little high, a little
outrageous,
high for my liking. The one thing that I do really like, and I put this on Twitter, is $90 for a dock. For me, I think that's fucking awesome because I will be buying at least one more dock.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, and that is awesome, actually. I didn't even think of it that way.
Right, so I can just I'm upstairs. I'm going to undock it. Now I'm going to go downstairs onto the theater screen. Boom, dock it in. I'm locked and loaded. Or shit, you know what? The kid and shit's watching, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse or something fucking whatever. So I'm going to move over here and play. You know what I mean? And like for an extra $180 to be able to dock it to any TV in my house instead of doing what I've done before with all of my systems and buying at least two of them, that's a big win for me. So I mean, for me, that saves me money. But I think I'm a pretty small use case in that matter. But
no, but for you, that saves you $210, essentially $209.
Right.
There's no reason to buy, more than one.
Yeah.
That's good. That's great. Actually, there are a lot of things on this. I had thought of this earlier too, but I was like, there are a lot of things about this particular console that I think fit you perfectly well.
Perfect.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they kind of tailored it to Mike, clearly.
Yes.
They've been listening to the show.
Well, so here's the caveats, what they didn't tailor to me. And this is where I feel like Nintendo's a little bit tone deaf to what people are asking for. And I know people are excited about this, but these JoyCons are $80. And some of the podcasts that I've been listening to, so essentially Nintendo doubled down.
And that's what you're clipping into the side of the screen to pull it off the dock, right?
Yeah. And they're also the things that disconnect, so you could technically do 2 players with just a set of Joy-Cons or whatever. But they doubled down on motion controls, and they also doubled down on rumble. And the motion control thing, I'm like, okay, keep the motion control in, whatever. But the game that they use to, so let's start there. The game that they use to show off this motion control thing is called 1-2 Switch. And normally a game that's essentially a tech demo to show off the capabilities of gimmicky-ass controllers is something they pack into the system. Mm-hmm. Well, they're not packing this in. This game is $40.
Oh, really?
And it does stuff like milk a cow. Not even kidding.
That's dumb. You need to package that in with the system, because who the hell is going to buy that?
Play table tennis, which table tennis is cool, but then there's like, do this like Western standoff where you both grab one and try to hit a button, and then there's like sword fighting, and that stuff that's fine if they want to do that, but that really should be a pack-in, and like at this point...
That's what Nintendo always does. Like, why would you change it?
Well, part of me just goes, is that adding cost to the Joy-Cons and the price of the system? Because I'd rather not have that and have
that's the thing. Maybe that's that extra $50, you know?
And have the Joy-Cons not be $80 or the system not be $300. So anyway, so there's that. So I'm not a super fan of that, but they do have a game that looks pretty neat called ARMS. So apparently the new motion is closer to what you would find from like the Oculus Rift Touch. Like, they're very sensitive. It's not like waggle. Like, it's actually like legit motion. But I'm just like, you better release some sort of VR headset to go with this thing if you're gonna, be selling me $80 Joy-Cons.
Yeah, no doubt.
So then the second thing was the HD Rumble, and at the show they demoed this by saying like, hey, you can hold this up, and if we were to do a demo where we dropped 3 ice cubes in it, you could feel 3 ice cubes. And if you shook it, you could tell us there's 3 ice cubes in it. And so one of the demos that they showed was to demo this... excuse me, my nose is going crazy. To demo this tech was... You were supposed to shake the Joy-Con controller and act like it's a box. And then guess how many balls are bouncing in the box. Or how many ice cubes are in the glass. And I'm just sitting there going like,
that sounds...
If I wanted to guess how many fucking ice cubes were in a glass...
I'd just go fill up a glass with ice. I've never once in my entire life thought about doing that for fun, or ever doing it for any reason.
Well, and I just can't think of any reason, if this thing is docked to the screen or docked to the controller handle thing, because they undock, you put the screen in, then you connect the Joy-Cons to like another grip thing to make it more of a traditional controller. There's no instance that I would ever need fucking HD rumble. I just want some feedback. I don't need to like...
How would you implement that in, say, like a Mario Kart or something like that?
I don't know, and I don't care. It's stupid. And like, I get that, like, here's the deal. The tech geek, you know what? Here, part of me would ignore this if the 1-2 Switch game was a pack-in. I'd go like, all right, they mixed it in, but the fucking game to do the cute stuff is free.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's not a pack-in, the Joy-Cons are $80 and the price of the fucking thing is $299. I'm like, could you just left that out and made it $279?
Right.
Because it's not going to get used, right? And so that's kind of the caveat. I got a little bit of heat about it on Twitter, and I want to clarify, because one person said, you're going to stop complaining about the Switch, and my response was, look, I've been one of the most positive, probably one of the few positive people about the direction Nintendo's taking, because if they release a PlayStation 4 3 years later, after the PlayStation 4 comes out, essentially people are going to be like, a little late to the party, Nintendo, right? No one would have bought that. And if nobody buys this, they might not, but I feel like part of it is because it's Nintendo being like, $300, $80 Joy-Cons, $80 Pro Controller, HD Rumble, fucking double down on motion controls. No one was asking for that.
Right. Well, I mean, that being said, and first of all, I'll say this: I don't feel like you've been I think you've been just the opposite. I agree with you. I feel like you've been the opposite on defending Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, well, if you listen to the podcast, and during the show, I was being very facetious. Like I was making jokes during the show about, HD vibrators and motion in the ocean controls, and it was a Japanese press conference, so it was way different than. But I was being facetious in that, but I feel like I've been pretty positive.
No, you haven't. But well, yeah, I'm sure you were just trolling, as you do. But and somebody probably just got it from that. But yeah, you've definitely been positive out of you've been the most excited out of anybody I've talked to up to this point about it. So. Yeah, I mean, that being said, I hear your gripes about that and stuff like that, but I also say, meh, it's $2.99. It's in there. It comes with it. Whatever, right? I mean, when it all comes down to it.
Yeah, it's fine.
So be it, right?
Well, and this is so I'm gonna play devil's advocate to myself a little bit here, okay. Which I've done multiple times. Is when you're talking about a system that you're gonna own for 4 or 5 years. I mean, the Wii U is still 4 years old. Mm-hmm. Does that extra $50 really matter? Right. I mean, when you're at the end of it and you're going, okay, I'm buying $50, $60 games. I own this thing for 4 years. I'm going to end up spending $800-900 on it probably anyway. Does the $50 really make or break it? Probably not, but it does, again, certainly remove that impulse purchase, which does impact adoption rate and everything else. But for me, it doesn't really matter, but I just kind of look at it and go, man, I really feel like $249 would have been the sweet spot, and they kind of missed it, but I'm okay with $299. And
I tend to agree with you, and look, Nintendo's going to be Nintendo, and they're going to do what they're going to do. So, look at it this way, they could have been like, oh, it's going to be $299 and not had all that other stuff as well. So they might as well have it in there. You know what I'm saying? Like at this point, I understand what you're saying as far as all that stuff goes.
Yeah. Yeah, there's two sides.
Whatever. Whatever, right?
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, I want to get a little bit of a rant off my chest before we move into the games.
Yeah, because that's what I'm really excited about.
Right. So there has been a lot of, just gauging Twitter, it seems like there is a lot of positivity around the Switch.
Yep. And
it's funny because everybody keeps talking about Legend of Zelda is the main reason to buy the Nintendo Switch. And it's like, I hate to remind people, all of these Nintendo fans that didn't buy the Wii U, but The Legend of Zelda is coming to the Wii U as well. And the Wii U had some of the best Nintendo games ever released on it. And I know that only 10 million Wii U sold. And it was one of my favorite systems. I know the messaging was bad and it felt cheap and da-da-da-da-da. But it also was $300. It also played Nintendo games. I couldn't take them with me out of the house. But there was more Nintendo games released on the Wii U that you couldn't play anywhere else as far as exclusives go. Mm-hmm. And so when we get into these launch games, a lot of the games that are going to be coming out in the launch window for the Wii U or for the Switch were games that already released on the Wii U at some point. And so it's this weird piece where people are super excited about all of these games coming out for the Nintendo Switch. And part of me sitting here going you could have played the first one of those on the Wii U, or you could have played the other variant on the Wii U, or you could have played this on the Wii U. And Wii U's were not hard to come by, and they weren't hard to find on sale. And so hopefully this time around, I'm hoping Nintendo fans actually go out and put their money where their mouth is on this one and actually buy this fucking system, because I think it's phenomenal. And I want it to succeed, because if it doesn't, this might be the last Nintendo hardware that we see from a console, because then they have to probably give some serious consideration to going third party.
Yeah, which would be a damn shame, I feel like. But
yeah, I'm with you. So anyway, launch games.
Yes. Well, real quick too, by the way, let me throw this in there as well. When you're buying your your Nintendo Switch, I'll probably be vulturing up some fucking a Wii U at that time. I don't know when the best time to swoop in, but eventually they only sold a certain amount too, so they're probably going to dip in price, and then they're probably going to skyrocket in price.
I would save your money, because my guess is a lot of the games that were on the Wii U will get re-released on the Switch somehow.
That's a good point.
Unless you want those experiences. Like, I mean, if you can find one cheap enough, I would certainly jump on it, but I would probably actually save that money and put it towards the Switch. But So launch day, not getting a lot. You're getting Just Dance 2017. So I want to start with launch day and then actually just talk about what's coming this year, because there's a lot of bangers coming this year. But
I've been watching, I've just had it on this loop on YouTube as we've been talking here of like just previews of everything coming out. So
yeah, so launch day, we've got 1-2 Switch, which should have been a pack-in. We've got Skylander Imaginators. I'm not a Skylanders guy, but whatever. We've got Just Dance 2017. Actually, here's the fucked up part. Just Dance is actually pretty goddamn fun.
Is it?
Yeah, man, it's fun. But you know,
it sounds super stupid.
It's. I'll probably actually buy it. And then
you gotta buy something.
And then you got Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. That's the system seller, right?
Yeah, the other ones are really not.
And especially considering most people don't have Wii U's. But god damn it, if the Breath of the Wild doesn't look like the greatest Zelda game that's ever made. And people are going to shit on us for that, because there's a lot of traditionalists that are saying they don't like the direction of it. I think it looks amazing.
It's the same people that would and look, this is the truth right here, but it's the same people that would say they don't like the direction of Wind Waker when that came out. You know?
Yeah, good call. That's a very apt comparison, right? And Wind Waker is like held by most as a top 3 Zelda game.
Oh my god, it was amazing, dude. It's probably
like a lot of people.
It's probably my favorite Zelda game up to this point.
Yeah.
Gasp, but it really is. I played them all. I beat most of them.
Well, in no particular order. I think a lot of people say A Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time or Ocarina of Time, and Wind Waker as far as top 3s go. And if you want to get cute, you can mix in a top 5 to maybe,
Well, they'd probably put the original.
Throw in the original or whatever, but
or Link's Adventure.
Yeah, which also
I don't know.
Again,
there's so many good ones. How can you categorize it? But yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Right.
But yeah, you have to hold up with the greats as far as Zelda games go. Wind Waker, you have to put that up there, and this is really Wind Waker-esque to me, like the art style. And so on, it looks just stunning. It looks amazing. Like
it looks like a traditional. What the hell's the art style in Wind Waker? I'm drawing a blank here.
Cell shading.
Yeah, it looks like a traditional version of cell shading, because it is if you go look at the zoom ups, but it doesn't it's not like apparent right out of the gate that it's cell shaded, but it does look that way.
It's amazing. It looks amazing. If you haven't seen it yet, stop this podcast right now and go look at it like a video on YouTube or something. But after you check out youtube.com/RetroGameFix.
Yeah, for sure. So
everything on ours, and then go check it out.
So Zelda, obviously going to be something we want. But so here's some of the other notable launch.
So wait. Those. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. That's not it for launch games then.
That is it for launch games. I was going to move on to launch window games.
If it weren't for Zelda on there, that would be a total turd salad.
Right. So here's the thing. It does sound like most of the first-party Nintendo games are actually already finished with development, but rather than blowing their load and then ending up with nothing to release.
That's probably good, yeah.
So they're going to kind of trickle them out. But so here's launch window games, which is technically the first 3 to 6 months that are coming out. So Has Been Heroes, which I believe is probably be a No More Heroes, which was on the Wii, maybe sequel. I Am Setsuna, which was a sequel, kind of a spiritual successor to some JRPG that I don't remember, but it's gotten phenomenal ratings. I actually want to check it out. Snipper Clips, one could assume that's some Joy-Con hair-cutting game. Super Bomberman R, Sonic Mania, Lego City Undercover, which was on the Wii U already. ARMS, which is like a boxing game, but with the new Joy-Cons, it's supposed to be very more tactical or strategical with your fighting. You're just not, going bonkers with your arms. Mario Kart Deluxe, which sounds like it's a direct port of Mario Kart 8.
There's got to be some extras in there, though. What you think?
Yeah, the early reports are there isn't, but I sure hope there is.
Oh, that's lame.
Splatoon 2, NBA 2K18, Elder Scrolls, Skyrim, Super Mario Odyssey, FIFA, Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap, Xenoblade.
What?
Yeah, motherfucker.
Wait, what?
Yeah, motherfucker.
No way. You just glossed right by that one. Were you just waiting to see if I'd hear that one or what?
Well, yeah, we haven't. I don't know if we've talked about that on the previous podcast, but there are videos out of it, and it looks fucking. Yeah, I can't wait to get that.
You can probably hear the right now. I'm looking it up.
Oh, have you? You haven't checked it out? I thought I emailed it to you. Oh yeah, man. There's a new Wonder Boy coming out. Man, you're gonna.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I can't wait for it. I'm gonna get Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap and get me.
That's the system seller there, right there for me.
Get me a nice big bottle of.
As soon as I come, that sounds like a good idea. Yeah, as soon as that comes out, dude, I'm buying a system then.
Yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and then Project Sonic. So the 2 Sonic games are on there. And then other titles confirmed to be in development.
Oh my god, this Wonder Boy looks fucking awesome.
I swear to God, I sent it to you.
I either didn't check it out or that's my favorite game of all time.
No, I know.
How would I not? How would I miss that?
It's coming to PC as well, but like that feels like the perfect game to play on.
That's the one.
Switch. Yeah,
that's the one that sold it for me. That's right. Just now, I'm like it switched. I'm like getting those beads of sweat. I'm like, I gotta have that.
So all of these are 2017. So if we look at 2017, I'm sitting here going, Legend of Zelda, yes. Has Been Heroes, yes. If it's a sequel to No More Heroes, Super Bomberman R. I think people. From the sounds of it, doesn't sound like it's going to be that great, but if they're going to put a Bomberman out and it's Nintendo, I'm assuming it's going to be good.
Bomberman, well, yeah, you look at Bomberman 64 was
Yeah, it's kind of balls, but Sonic Mania, I'm in. I played some Lego City Undercover on Wii U. I'd probably play it on the Switch. I'll probably end up buying ARMS because if there's going to be a gimmick there, I want to do a boxing game. Mario Kart 8, I'll buy that. Splatoon 2, I'll buy that. Super Mario Odyssey, I'll buy that. Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap, I'll buy that. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I'll buy that. Project Sonic, I'll buy that. Like
Splatoon 2, like, do you already say that one?
Yeah, I said that. Like, fucking amazing.
You did not even put that Wonder Boy on your list here. Did you do that on purpose?
No, it is. It's on the list. It's the third from the bottom. Or third from in the launch window games bullet there. Right above Xenoblade Chronicles.
I don't see that either.
Yeah, all right.
Oh, it scrolls down. My bad.
Dumbass.
No, but I mean, there's so much that and trust me, like a lot of this time too, I've just been looking at videos like as we've been talking here, and oh man. So I don't know about the Bomberman. I don't think I'd want that. But Zelda, yes, totally.
But here's the thing: all the love I've been giving the Wii U, right? You can jump into this thing for $299. You're gonna get your Mario Kart. You're gonna get the Wonder Boy. You're gonna get You're gonna get the Sonics. You're gonna get the fucking Zelda, right? Like just that. You're gonna get the Splatoon. Just those games in and of themselves. You're gonna get the Mario. Like just those games in and of themselves are worth the price of admission.
Yeah, I agree with you. No, the Mario.
And let me remind you, you can play them on the go. You can play them in your bed. You can play them on the toilet. You can play them on the bus. Guess what? There's no internet connectivity required, so you can even play them on a fucking plane that has snakes on it.
So they said that there was that actually wasn't a thing.
Well, not for the Switch. It's not. Super Mario Run. Right. You still can't.
Oh, never mind.
I was making a sarcastic joke.
I am sick and tired of these motherfucking snakes
on this
motherfucking plane.
I can't yell down here anymore because I'm right below the bedroom.
No, my son's room is like right on the other side of the wall from where I'm at. So I'm sure. I hope he heard that.
The audio quality might go up because I won't be yelling as often.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm usually yelling into the microphone and clipping.
We had some classics.
Yeah, we did have some classics. Usually so the good news is usually if I'm talking too loud, I'll have text messages by now from Carrie that say like,
right.
Could you be quiet? And then they gradually get more violent. Like, could you be quiet? We can hear you. Hey, your voice fucking carries. Hey, you're really fucking loud. Like, they continue to just get when I'm like, and then I just like turn my phone over. But I can't do that anymore. So anyway.
Oh man, my son, like when he does not like to fall asleep. But when he falls asleep, man, that guy sleeps. So I can pretty much yell anything I want and he's still going to be asleep, I think. Or, and I'm sure my wife can hear this too, generally she's pretty good at putting him back to sleep. So
yeah.
Either way, I'm fine.
I think Violet has a nervous tick from our one dog always fucking barking really loud when she was like...
Oh, that would fucking drive me nuts, dude. I'm sorry.
So anyway, actually, speaking of that side tangent, I bought a shock collar that was supposed to be for like... Well, no, it's supposed to be for like small dogs, like 8-pound dogs. And so if they bark, it's supposed to just give them a little buzz. I put this fucking thing on Oscar. He barked, and all of a sudden he kept barking, and then he started, like, he sounded like he's dying because it must have just continued to shock him. So I ran over and got it off of him. And I was like, how hard does this thing shock? So I put it up to my fucking throat and kind of went, arf. It brought me to my fucking knees. I was like, how can this thing... I was like, I'm so sorry. How could this thing say it's for 8-pound dogs? So yeah, so I went to return it. I went through the Amazon Prime. I was like, return this. And it was like, what reason? And I put like inadequate quality. And I was like, I don't think you should say this was for 8-pound dogs. I thought my dog was dying when he barked one time and then withered in pain. I tested it on myself and it brought me to my knees.
Sometimes, though, you're like, God damn it, stop fucking barking. And sometimes you're like, yeah, I know there's going to be some points where you're like, I still wish I had that fucking shot collar,
here's the thing. We do have one of those citronella ones that kind of just sprays like the orange smell.
That sprays them in the face?
Yeah, which actually works really well on him, but then, like, he stinks like that shit, which sucks.
Oh, it doesn't bother me, though.
But, so anyway, yeah, I know. It's just, we're trying to get it because, like, he'll always bark at, like, and whenever he does it, it's, like, right in her fucking ear. And it's like, come on, dog. So anyway, side tangent. Be like, you son of a bitch. Yeah, these Nintendo games, though. So all these look great. Here's the thing. I think the main one we got to jump into, though, is Super Mario Odyssey. And the fact that Mario's in the real world and it sounds like it's like a hub world, kind of like N64 where you're like, oh, I'm in the castle and I'm jumping in and out of shit.
Right.
It's still a mind fuck seeing Mario in like a real world.
And like GTA or whatever.
All I want to do is go steal someone's Porsche.
And just run him over with it? That'd be super awesome. That never gets old, by the way.
No, it doesn't. But man, that game looks good, doesn't it?
Oh man, it looks ridiculous. I mean, I saw that first part and I was like, you're like, it trips me out.
Well, I wasn't saying that I wasn't saying I wasn't excited about it. I was just saying it was like the art, like the aesthetic of him in that world in New Donk City.
It's kind of weird, yeah. New Donk City. That was funny. But yeah, man, no, I just watching it, I'm like, oh my God, this looks dope as shit. I was like, that looks awesome. So, I mean, just really the aesthetics of everything, like not just, not just him in the human world and stuff, but like the actual regular gameplay. Like if that was the whole game, I'd probably be like, it's kind of weird, but it's totally classic Mario in like super awesome ways that we haven't seen yet,
Yeah.
But there's you can tell there's a lot of, obvious 3D Mario elements and so on, but beyond that, it just looks like, wow, I don't know. What are your thoughts on it?
I think it looks great. And
I'm totally giving you like it's got lights and it's blinking and flashing and well, yeah. I'm giving you one of those answers.
No, I know. But I think the key here is, and outside of the like flashing lights, it's a Nintendo, it's a Mario Nintendo, it's a 3D, it's a traditional 3D Mario Nintendo game. And it's not going to be bad. And
No.
the most encouraging part of everything I see here, if you take away the pricing and some of the bad decisions and, you know, the online stuff that we didn't really hit on, that's going to be an app first and paid and some of that stuff, whatever, is the fact that at its core, you're getting a hybrid Nintendo console that is going to have great Nintendo games for $299, and I'm fucking in. I mean, for the games that we talked about already. And so here's other stuff. Other games in development. Fire Emblem Warriors. I'm not a big Fire Emblem guy just because I haven't had the time. My JRPG time is limited at this point.
Pretty tedious, yeah.
I can't always drop, you know, like Zelda. I'll throw 50 hours into that, but I'm not going to throw 80 hours into like a JRPG most of the time unless it's Persona. What else do we got? Some Dragon Quest stuff. That's fine. Minecraft, whatever. Shin Megami Tensei, another RPG. Steep, snowboarding game that's already out, but like Steep is cool. Like actually, that's a game I might get on the Switch because I would like to take it with me because it's just like a snowboarding game that's like fun elsewhere. Rayman Legends Definitive Edition. I don't know how many times they need to re-release that, but I love me some Rayman Legends. Ultra Street Fighter 2, which is weird because the system doesn't actually have a D-pad. Dragon Ball, so you'd have to have the Pro Controller. Maybe the D-pad works fine because you don't actually use diagonals. I don't think. Does Street Fighter, is that an 8-way or 2-way? Or 4-way?
8-way.
Okay, so that might be awkward. Dragon Ball. What else we got? Rhyme, which looks cool. That was a Sony game, and I don't know. I think Sony dropped it, and maybe Switch picked it up. So Rhyme could be cool. Fast RMX was kind of that F-Zero hybrid. Stardew Valley, Blaze Blue, and then a few other games that I haven't seen. But my hope here is that this thing sells enough where we've talked about it before. And my main argument was always it doesn't need traditional third-party support. Like, I don't need Call of Duty. I don't need Mass Effect on this thing. I don't need that shit on this thing. I don't need Madden. But it does need third-party support. The 3DS had a ton of third-party support. I feel like it does need third-party support, so I hope it gets the install base. But I just think of like third-party support in the way of the kind of games that you'd see on the 3DS, right? Or specific stuff to kind of fill in the gaps until you get your next Nintendo game, but I don't need to fill the gaps with Call of Duty. And for me, it's not really a big deal, right? Because I've already got more games than I have time to play with the other systems. And I hope other people look at it that way and say, I hope people look at it kind of like VR, right? I'm not going to play VR all the time, but I bought this VR headset to do this specific thing. And I think everybody wants every system they buy to be, well, I'm going to play this all the time. But the truth is, you only have so much time in a day unless you're like a teenager, right? And so anybody that's an adult, and I mean this, and I hope this doesn't come across as like me being a dick, but as an adult, most people don't have time to play all the games on all the systems. And so if I go buy this thing, the only reason I'm buying it is to play Nintendo games. Everything else I'm going to play on PS4 probably or Xbox. And so if I get my Nintendo games, there's going to be plenty of other games on other systems for me to play. Because I just don't have the time to play all the games.
No, and let's be real here. Neither does anybody.
Right. And so you go,
any normal human being, let's put it that way.
And is $299 too expensive for that? Well, my argument to those people would be, most of y'all that I see on podcasts have spent $299 on an Xbox One and a PlayStation 4, and they play 97% of the same games probably.
Right.
So I just still don't understand why people are still complaining about Nintendo not having those same 97% of games, when the truth is you're only going to play the actual 3% that the other systems don't have. And when, in the case of PS4 and Xbox, it was never a problem. And so I hope Nintendo gets that same. I just feel like Nintendo does it right, man. And I'm getting over the shooty kill. And Nintendo's got the jams for me for 2017. So I can't wait till March 3rd, dude.
Well, that's the thing, and we look back at we just real quick. We look back at like the PlayStation launch, and remember how enthusiastic I was for like the PlayStation and the Xbox launch. I'm like, I don't give a shit about any of the games that are coming out on either of those systems. You know what I'm saying? Like launch games and so on. Look, I don't give a shit out of 3 out of the 4, three out of 4 of the launch games on the Switch, but one of them, that Zelda. Oh my god, dude. Whew, that looks awesome. So personally, I think so.
Yeah. Well, and you know, with the PlayStation 4 and stuff, you can look at it and say, well, the PlayStation 4 and Xbox right now, the sales of the Call of Duties and the Battlefields and all these other games this year specifically kind of went in the can to the point that the week after these games launched, like right now I can go get Call of Duty for $27, and I've been able to get Call of Duty for $27 with GCU for like the last 6 weeks, right? It launched in November, like the last 2 months, 8 weeks, right?
Oh, wow.
And I think people are finally like, oh, Call of Duty, shooty, kill. Oh, Battlefield, shooty, kill. Oh, fucking, Titanfall, shooty, kill. And at some point you go, Nintendo's launching. A lot of people didn't get the Wii U. I'm getting Zelda. I'm getting Sonic. I'm getting Mario. I'm getting Mario Kart. I'm getting Splatoon. I'm getting Wonder Boy. I'm getting Xenoblade. I'm getting some JRPGs. All this in the first fucking year, man. I'm still on board.
You got some real substance in those games, you know? I feel like, I mean, you're going to get an epic title with pretty much all of those, you know? I don't know, man. Some kids love playing Call of Duty and stuff, and that's their thing or whatever. But like, yeah, I mean, there's only so far.
I've got over 1,000 hours in Destiny, but you know.
No, of course you do. But I'm saying like you've got just, I don't know. You don't. All I'm saying, there's nothing to complain about with the selection that you're getting on the Switch. In my opinion, I'm like, dude, if you love video games. That for me, that whole first launch year in 2017 is going to be awesome for that thing. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to wait on this one. I'm almost 100% sure by like probably summer I'll probably go ahead and just snatch one. You know, probably before.
Yeah, I would bet that with the Mario Kart, I'd bet you could get a Mario Kart or a Splatoon bundle this summer for the $299. So I'd probably wait.
Yeah.
I'd probably wait for that. They're going to get the early adopters at $299, and then come spring, they're probably going to do like a Mario Kart or a Splatoon bundle. You know, the one thing that I kind of just thought of, I wouldn't underestimate the power of the fact that they didn't announce a Pokemon, but you got to assume there's a Pokemon coming at some point, and that mobile app went gangbusters. You know, people shit all over Super Mario Run, but Super Mario Run did gangbusters, and that created a lot of brand recognition. And then NES Classic, whether you got one or not, was the talk of the town through the holiday season. And on every single one of those articles, it was Pokemon Go. By the way, Nintendo Switch is coming out, blah, 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 blah. Super Mario Run, every one of those articles, Nintendo Switch is coming out. NES Classic, every article, Nintendo Switch is coming out, right? And so maybe there's a lot of adults that have rekindled their interest in video games based on either Pokemon or Mario Run or the NES Classic. Whether you got one or not, Nintendo is back in people's mind share, and so I really do hope, just because, I am a Nintendo fanboy. I'll criticize them, but I really hope it works out for them, because I love Nintendo.
And you're right.
Hardware.
All that stuff was the lead up for the Switch too. Is just to be like, hey, we're Nintendo. We got our names out there again. Shit, you know, I don't know. Maybe they're not going to release any more Nintendo classics or something like that. Maybe they're like, I don't give a fuck if you can't get a Nintendo Switch. This is going to create a lot of buzz, and it's going to be kind of the thing to get around the holidays for such and such. It's just a crappy little piece that like we didn't really spend much time on.
Yeah, we didn't spend a lot. Like, we're not in, like, that's always the thing.
We didn't fine tune it at all. We just kind of really just half-assed everything. And as far as that goes, and you know, we did that on purpose. You know, I'm sure they did that on purpose. They may, who knows? They may not come out with any more. You know,
right? And
but all of everything that you've with deciding to release the Super Mario Run on mobile and all that stuff. All that stuff is probably just to create buzz and name recognition, like you'd said, So that's a good point, I guess.
Yeah. We'll see how it works out. I hope it works out for him, but yeah.
Ooh, you got me excited about it now, though.
I'm fucking excited,
really
man.
Looking at this game.
I can't yell like I normally would, but I'm pretty fucking excited.
Yeah. I would like to be like, just give us a good yell, like right now, real quick.
Yeah, I'd get fucking killed the minute I walk upstairs out of the basement. I'd get stabbed in the dick the minute I open the door.
Oh, man. Having kids is an adventure sometimes.
Yeah, it sure is, yeah. But, yeah, man, yeah, that's all I got. Fuck, man, I'm so excited about it. Like, I want it. Like,
God, now I'm excited about it. Now I want it.
The fucked up part is like most of the time when they announce systems, they're like, yeah, and it's going to be out in 6 to 9 months. Like, this one's like, we're getting a new system and a new Zelda 6 weeks from now.
After seeing that Zelda too, I'm like, ooh.
Because here's what's gonna happen. Come March 3rd, I'm gonna play through it on the Wii U and I'm gonna play through it on the Switch, and you're gonna have to hear me talking about it on the fucking podcast for like the next fucking 3 weeks after from March 3rd until like, I don't know, the end of the year. I'm gonna be constantly talking about the Nintendo Switch. I actually think, and usually I would say like, I don't know if Mitch is going to get one. Like,
nice. I totally caught that, by the way.
I'd vote against it, but...
Did you just crack your knuckles?
But this time around, I'm like, I actually think this might be the one that actually you might jump on before the end of the year.
I think you're right, man. I mean, it's Nintendo, and I got to be honest with you. I was like, they missed me on the Wii U. I want one, but it's just never been like really a priority for me. But
well, they missed a lot of people, and it felt cheap and shitty. I completely understand why a lot of people didn't buy the Wii U, and so I don't want my earlier rant. I don't want it to come across as like elitism, but it did have a ton of fucking great games. But it just hit to the point where the Wii U became a joke. And rather than actually, like, a lot of people stopping and going, like, this has a lot of great games, people just shat on it the entire time. And part of it was Nintendo's fault in the fact that they never lowered the price. They never lowered the price of games. They never marketed it, right? So a lot of it's on Nintendo, but I still think that's a great system. But I wouldn't spend the money on that. I would just spend that money on the Switch.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good point. I'm pretty sure I'm going to jump in on this one. You got me excited about it. Honestly, that's the best part. I hope you do get one, and I hope you talk about it a lot. That's kind of what we do, when we're passionate about something. That really comes through in the podcast, I think, too. So I think that's awesome. I think you should. I think you should be talking about Zelda for however long you need to, So.
Yeah. The only other thing I would say is Japanese press conferences are fucking weird. You can, like, because in, like, E3, right, you got, like, loud, dumb Americans just cheering and screaming. Like the Japanese press conferences, like, there's a little golf clap here and there. I'm like, man, Japanese people are polite as a motherfucker. E3, like,
no comment.
You always got, well...
I'm just kidding.
E3 though, like the crowd gets quiet and you always got somebody that needs to yell out like, "Oh, Doyle rules."
My family's Japanese, by the way.
Yeah, I know, that's why it's funny. And you're like, I don't know that polite comment. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But
I keep hearing you farting. What did you eat today?
I had yesterday I had a Juicy Lucy, which was phenomenal. And then today,
exactly what that sounded like.
Today I had some combos. Those were fucking delicious because combos are fucking great. And then I had a Cadbury egg because those are back in style now that Easter is coming up, and I love me some Cadbury eggs. And then
I'll take one Cadbury egg, please.
And then
is that how it went?
Well, yeah. And then we didn't.
The store.
We didn't. That was $2 for $2, player. And then we didn't want to
I'll take one.
What's that from?
I don't know. I just made it up right now. I thought it was funny.
Oh, and then we didn't want to get too crazy with dinner, so we just made some sloppy joes. And so,
dude, Jesus Christ, dude.
So that was my.
You just say some sloppy joes and some juicy Lucy's. That sounds like all these could be euphemisms for like taking a shit in your pants.
Well, like some sort of weird fucking like subgenre of porn.
That's probably German. I see why you're farting constantly. I understand. That makes so much sense.
I've been doing it all podcasts, but I haven't been ripping them as loud. But like, I could have all podcasts, I could have ripped them a little louder so you could have heard them. Yeah, the sloppy.
You're like, I had a sloppy Joe and a juicy Lucy and one Cadbury egg.
Well, it's finally hitting me too because we've talked about some of the health things I get concerned about every year, and then I don't change anything. So anyway, the last week I've been hitting the elliptical because my parents bought us an elliptical for Christmas, but we got it like 6 months ago, and Carrie's been using the shit out of it. So I haven't been. So in like the last week I got on the elliptical. I've been using it and it's great. But it's like gets my metabolism up a little bit, so it makes me fart more. Sure. But it's funny because like
just fart while you're like on the elliptical.
I fart all the time. I fart all the time, but I'm using this fucking elliptical describing like the workout plan. Like, oh, the weight loss workout plan. I'll do that. It's 20 minutes, which by the way kicks my ass. Carrie comes in the room. She's like, oh, because it's like a Jillian Michaels fucking programmed one from like Costco or something like that. And she's like, Jillian Michaels will yell at you if you turn on this. And she turns it on, and Jillian Michaels is like, I wouldn't be doing my job if you're not yelling at me and a bunch of shit. And I'm like, what the fuck is this bitch talking about? I don't want to get yelled at by the thing. I just want to
like mute.
Yeah, I turned it off immediately. I was like, I don't want.
Also that you're probably like on the elliptical eating your Cadbury egg. Is that how it went down in Sloppy Joe's and shit?
So here's the funny thing. I get home, I break out the Cadbury egg, and I eat it. I love Cadbury fucking eggs. And
you like take it out of the like Walmart bag or something? Well,
it was from Holiday. It was from Holiday, but it was like, it's just pure sugar. It's like, hey, we've got this milk chocolate like outer shell, sugar. And then you bite into it, and just like liquefied sugar pours out of it. And it's like, we also put a little swirl of orange in here that's supposed to be yolk, but yolk's actually like yellow. But our orange swirl is orange because it's extra sugary. By the way, you've got diabetes.
Diabetes. It's like a diabetes bomb.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll be. You know what's? I love Cadbury eggs. I find myself as a Cadbury. I kind of.
Yeah, you do. You do love those things.
I'm kind of a Cadbury egg connoisseur, but I would just wish they would release different varieties because they tried they pulled like a marshmallowy Cadbury egg Halloween thing on me once, and I bit into it, thinking it would be the delicious like sugary center. It was like fucking marshmallow, and I was like, what do you got? What?
Ooh.
I was like, you guys tricked me.
Yeah, there's a time and a place for that, but like that's not the time or the place.
Well, I like marshmallow treats. Trust me. I love me some marshmallows.
No, that's what I'm saying.
But when you're biting in thinking you're going to get some...
s'mores or something?
Yeah, you think you're going to get some good, delicious, like, runny, sweet, white goodness that's just going to drip down your chin. And you get marshmallows.
Wait, what are we talking about?
And I be stroking. That's what I be doing.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. We've just become rated X. I could just see you getting home though. You got like your bag from like the holiday station or whatever. You got like your bag, you like open it up, kind of fiddle around a little bit. You take your one Cadbury egg out, just like look at it, be like, yeah. Like take the little wrapping off, little piece by piece.
Well, that's always
I can totally see.
That's always a bitch because it's impossible to get them out. So I get in, and Carrie's in the kitchen, and I break out Cadbury eggs, and I'm like, the Cadbury eggs are back. And I look at Violet. She's holding Violet, and I'm like, Violet, these are some tasty, delicious seasonal treats, and I love them. And Carrie's like, they're seasonal? I'm like, yeah, they're eggs. They're Easter. So I only eat the one, but I bought two. And and so there's one on the counter, and Carrie's about to go to bed. And Carrie's like, you going to eat that other Cadbury egg? And I'm like, yeah, you can have it. And she starts to think about it. And she's like, I'm about to go to bed. Never mind. I'm not going to eat a fucking Cadbury egg because I won't be able to sleep.
You'd be like, good, because I wasn't going to give it to you.
You know, I do that sometimes. Because, like, if she was going to go to eat it, I would have grabbed it, and ate it with the tin foil on it. But, like, that's my Cadbury egg. Hey, check this out. Shh. I thought I had a clap. I thought I had a clapper, and it was more of a pop.
It was all right.
All right. Well, anyway, if you're still with us, appreciate it.
If you're still with us, what the hell? What's wrong with you? I'm just kidding.
You know what? You know what? You know when we have our best podcasts or when we rant. I felt like it was a good podcast. I'd give you a high five and maybe even a hug. If we weren't 900 miles away from each other right now. Felt good.
Well,
good
I'd probably insist that you step outside before you do that. I wouldn't want to step into your basement right now.
Shake and bake. Oh, yeah. I need to tell you a story. If you're still listening, again, I got to tell you on the podcast because it's a good story. So I've got all my shit hooked up. I bought some really nice surge protectors that are also like power filters because of all the audio stuff downstairs. I got deals on them, but they were like APC power filters, which are also surge protectors too. And they're like normally like $90 a piece. I got them for like $40 a piece from B&H Photo like 6 months ago. This morning I come downstairs, I can't get power through one of them, and I look at it and it says protection off. So apparently I must have had a surge, and the protector did exactly what it was supposed to do and like broke before it wrecked all of my shit.
Okay.
Which is fine in the fact that like I can send it back because it's under warranty and they'll send me a new one, and that's kind of why you buy these expensive motherfuckers. But
damn, dude, what the hell happened?
I have no idea. Unless it just went bad. I don't know. Because there was no, like, normally if the surge is bad, like a breaker or something, no, the breaker, nothing went. So anyway, I pulled that out. I filed a claim with APC, and I'll get a new surge protector. But I was like, well, I need something. With all my stuff, I don't like to hook it up to the cheaper ones. I usually buy, like, a little bit nicer ones. So there was no one that stocked the APC, because I always buy APC surge protectors, except Micro Center, which I call Satan's ass.
Uh-huh.
I got into Micro Center today. It literally smelled like BO, like it was packed, but like packed to the point that like it's never smelled like how. If you were to be like, what do you think Micro Center smells like? You'd be like, well, the people that go there, beer farts and Cheetos and Doritos and like BO.
Yeah.
That's what it smelled like today.
Wow.
So, anyway. But anyway, I bought a new surge protector. But yeah, something happened in my house that blew out a surge protector. But luckily,
Jesus, dude, I would never plug anything into that fucking outlet ever again.
Well, that's what the outlets. I'm gonna have to try to check out, see what happens there, because that's a little concerning.
Yes.
Like when a $90 surge protector goes bad, you're like, whoa, it's not actually
up. Yeah.
It's not actually supposed
I don't think that's exactly supposed to happen. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's not supposed to burn out.
It did its job, but like
the fact that it did it, like something happened that was so hot, and it was only I have the same surge protector on two outlets, but they're different outlets, but they're one's on one wall because I'm in a corner, one's on one wall and one's in the other. And the other surge protector is fine, so I don't know what happened. Maybe it just went bad. I mean, I suppose that could happen, but that also doesn't surge protectors. They say you should replace every like 2 to 3 years, because your house constantly does have power surges that don't kill things.
Right.
But I if this thing died after 6 months, either I have something really bad going on with my wiring, or I got a really wonky surge protector, which does not elude confidence in hooking up $2,000 computers to it. You know what I mean?
No doubt, dude. Fucking crazy.
Anyway.
With that being said, it's for the RetroGameFix.com Retro Jones podcast, number 102. This is Mitch.
And this is Mike.
And we'll catch you next week.
I'm not going to sing, but I'll do this. See ya. I tried to fart, but it didn't work.